Okay, so today we have Jane Says by Jane's Addiction. So Jane's Addiction is a band that I've heard of, and they've been requested, but I don't think I've ever listened to a song by them. So yeah, this will be a true reaction today. So we're gonna get into this one, talk about it after. So let's get going, and yeah, talk about Jane Says after it's done.
Jane says, I'm done with Sergio. You treat me like a rag doll. She hides the television. Said I don't know him nothing about it. Oh, he come back again. Tell him, wait right here for me. Oh, try again tomorrow. I'm gonna kick tomorrow. I'm gonna kick tomorrow.
Powerful. Gonna kick tomorrow.
Jane says, have you seen my wig around? I feel naked without it. She knows they all want her to go, but that's okay, man. She don't like them anyway. Jane says I'm going away to Spain when I get my money saved. Gonna start tomorrow. I'm gonna kick tomorrow. I'm gonna kick tomorrow. Well, she did, man, and she starts to cry. She take a swing, man. She can't help. She don't mean no harm. She just don't know what else to do about it. And Jane goes to the store at 8. She walks up on St. Andrews
Well, all right. So Jane Says by Jane's Addiction. So obviously, Jane is a big part of this band, off the top. Anyway, so I do know that there was another version of the song, I should say as well, which was like a live version, but then they re-recorded for this one, and that's the one I did. But anyway, I mean, if you probably already know. But anyway, maybe I should have said that at the start. But anyway, I was just thinking of it. So yeah, Jane, I mean, from everything I see here, some phlegm in my throat or something. Good Lord. Anyway, so just off the top, I guess with me not knowing anything about this song or this band before all this, and just listening to it for the first time, obviously I would say that Jane is a drug addict. I mean, I think that's probably apparent. Obviously talking about right off with the first verse, I'm done with Sergio. He treat me like a rag doll. So I'm guessing abusive relationship. And I guess just Perry Farrell, the lead singer of the band, just telling her life story. Talking about heroin, which seems to be the drug of choice here, from what I see. But yeah, and talking about and there was some telling lines in there that I just want to talk about right off the top. Really, I was gonna say, the song almost sounds peppy, and the lyrics are a little hopeful, but at some parts as well, they're still a little sad. Talking about I'm gonna kick tomorrow. And I mean, yeah, that's with a lot of addicts, drug addicts, whatever. It's just like, I guess when you get high and then you think like, oh, I'll stop tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes around and you don't stop. It's just like, it's a cycle. It's hard to stop. Obviously, it's an addiction. And I mean, yeah, Jane's Addiction. I mean, obviously, this is so integral to the band. This song, at least, obviously. And Jane, I just want to read more, about Jane, I guess, if she was a real person or what. So I am on Genius here, so like I usually do, just read the about, just to see more, for myself anyway, about the song. So anyway, it just says Jane Says was first released in semi-live format on Jane's Addiction's 1987 debut album, Jane's Addiction. The title refers to Farrell's housemate, Jane Bainter, who was a smart girl even though she did heroin. I mean, yeah, lots of smart people do drugs all the time. Anyway, what makes this song unique, maybe not all the time, but yes. Anyway, what makes this song unique is the use of steel drums on the version that is on Jane's Addiction's later album, Nothing's Shocking, which came out in 1988, which again is the one I reacted to here. And, reacted. I feel like I said it weird. Anyway, the steel drums. Yes, I have to say, if we're talking about the personnel here, the steel drums are very, prominent. And yeah, I always, with a steel drum, I don't know how else to describe what I get, the feeling, the vibe. It's just like, I want to say like tropical, but I don't know if that's the right word. But also, it's just, I imagine the song being played on a beach and just, people frolicking. And anytime I hear a steel drum, I feel like it should be, you're on the beach. I don't know why, but it's just, I really love that sound. And I'm really glad they included it here and changed it up from whatever it was in the, live recording. So yeah, the steel drum. I wasn't really expecting a steel drum, but it really works here. And Stephen, I want to say Perkins on the steel drums here. So, shout out to him, obviously. And then I guess, Eric Avery on bass guitar and acoustic guitar. It says here, this is for the album Nothing is Shocking, not just the song. So yeah. Anyway, and Dave Navarro. I've heard of Dave Navarro, obviously. He was on, what was it, Ink Master? Yeah. And so that's the first place I saw him, and then I learned that he was in a band. Anyway, but then Perry Farrell, I've heard of him as well. I remember he was in a documentary about the Doors. He talked about Jim Morrison, and since I'm a big Doors fan, I remember seeing his name. But again, I didn't know who that these people were in a band. I just remember them from seeing them on friggin' television. But anyway, and all these years later, I'm finally listening to their music. But again, Dave on electric and acoustic guitars, it says, and of course Perry Farrell on vocals and piano. He did the piano. So yeah, Perry's voice. I guess I don't really talk about his voice, but I mean, he just wails, and like it's just I would say he's a tenor. I guess he has a higher pitched voice, I want to say. And yeah, he's just, I mean, the way he could just I don't know, his voice was just blissful, really. I mean, I really enjoyed the sound, and maybe, on the cusp of raspy, I want to say. And at parts, he reminded me of, like, I don't know, like other 90s singers I've heard, like maybe Shannon Hoon for some reason came to mind. But I don't like comparing, voices to other people all the time. But Shannon Hoon came to mind at one point, and I was like, I don't know why. But anyway, again, high kind of voice, and I just really enjoyed their sound altogether. And again, Jane's Addiction, I don't know why, but I always thought, when I heard of the band, I thought they were a 90s band. I thought they were around just in the 90s. And then come to find out they, started in the mid 80s and ended for the first time in 1991. I don't know, I didn't know that they were around, that earlier. And I was just, I don't know, I don't know why in my mind, I just thought they were only in the 90s, but of course, they were not. So anyway, but of course they did have reunions, and I don't know if they're still together now or what, but I do know that they, got back together multiple times. Anyway, just more about Jane here on Song Facts, just to say more, for me to, I guess, learn about her. It says, according to lead singer Perry Farrell, there was an actual Jane with an actual heroin addiction and an abusive boyfriend named Sergio, who lived with him and nearly a dozen others in a group house in Hollywood as the band was forming in the early 80s. She talked endlessly about going to Europe, and then we have the line, of course, I'm going away to Spain, want to get my money saved, and she took an occasional swipe at a housemate, but she never seemed to connect. And of course, with the line there, she gets mad and starts to cry, takes a swing, but she can't hit. And also, as that was, as he was singing that as well, I was thinking maybe that she's probably high at that point. And I mean, again, with other lines in the song, like, she takes her, I don't remember the full line, but she takes her dinner out of her pocket. Yeah, she pulls her dinner from her pocket. I mean, probably, again, her drug, heroin, I guess. And, talking about, I've never been in love. I don't know what it is. I mean, yeah, again, when I said it was like hopeful, talking about the part, like, I'm going to kick this tomorrow. But then you have these parts here where it's the opposite. It's just like, talking about I've never been in love. It's just sad and it's tragic. It's just like, ooh. And then, of course, the bridge after that, she gets mad. She starts to cry. She takes a swing again. She don't mean no harm. She just don't know what else to do about it. And it's just, again, so sad. And again, you think about, I mean, if you have anyone in your life or, friend or whatever, friends, relative or something. I mean, I think everybody knows somebody with a drug addiction or an addiction to something, whether it's food or whatever. And, yeah, it's just, it is sad to see. And yeah, I mean, so I mean, yeah, the song again sounds pretty peppy at parts. I think, at least with the steel drums. I mean, the steel drums for me just make anything sound nice. But of course, the lyrics here are not that peppy all the way. But again, there are some hopeful parts. So yeah, I mean, and one more thing from Wikipedia, talk about Jane Bainter again. It just talks about in a 2001 interview. With the Los Angeles Times, she clarified many things about the song. She says she was dating Sergio, an abusive boyfriend, and she did wear wigs, but she stated that she never sold her body for sex, and then talks about it as well, that she had been clean for 8 years and eventually did get to go to Spain. So 2001, so she was clean since like 93. And again, the song came out in 88 or whatever. So yeah, anyway, so good to hear that she was clean. And I wonder what's happened of Jane today. But again, obviously Jane here was, a big influence on the band, like I said. And obviously, with the name, Jane's Addiction. I mean, everything, there's the connection right there, Jane's Addiction. Yeah, so anyway, nice song. I mean, relevant song for a lot of people, relatable. You feel it, and deep meaning, obviously, for a lot of people who, go through addiction or know somebody who goes through addictions. And yeah, it's nice that she got to go to Spain, got to save her money and go to Spain. So that's very nice as well. Anyway, I guess that's all I got to really say. So yeah, my introduction here to Jane's Addiction was a success, I would say. Really enjoyed it. Perry Farrell's voice again, really enjoyed that. Just the whole band sounded tight. I really enjoyed everything. And again, love the steel drums. I don't know what else to say. Anyway, I guess that's all. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for the requests for Jane's Addiction. Again, I've heard so much about them, but never listened to them. I don't know why. But yeah, anyway, thanks for the support. Liking, subscribing, commenting, all that stuff. Really appreciate it. And as I burp, I will talk to you guys again soon.